Mawardi, the system behind the power. The power is yours, but the system is not. It is the year 2050. You're at the head of a state. You have a massive army. Your treasury is overflowing with gold. Your laws appear perfect, and everyone obeys you. But something is wrong. No one opposes you, but no one supports your views either. People respect and follow the rules, but not because they believe in them, simply because they have to. Now, I have one question for you. How long does such a system last? 1 year? 50 years? Or will everything end silently the moment the first major crisis hits? Because now, without realizing it, you have stepped into history's most troublesome truth. Power is not the only thing you possess. Power continues only as long as you are accepted. And today, we dive into the mind of someone who solved this reality nearly 1,000 years ago, Al-Mawardi. But let me tell you this from the start, this is not a life story. This is the code for how a system survives. Part 1. The sound of collapse is silent. Most people misunderstand collapse. To them, collapse is just rebellion, chaos, streets turning to ash. But the reality is much more sinister. True collapse makes no noise. People don't scream, people don't fight, people simply stop believing. And at that moment, the system still looks like it's standing tall. But in reality, it is already over. Part 2. Baghdad, where power unites but dissipates 11th century. Baghdad, the center of the world. The markets are crowded, the madrasas are active, the palaces are strong, but that is only the surface. When you look deeper, you see something else. A rift, a divide that is slowly becoming giant. There is a caliph, but his power is symbolic. There is a sultan, but his legitimacy is lacking. The system is split in two. 1. Visible rule. 2. Actual authority. The moment these two separate, the system ceases to be a system. It is merely a delayed extinction. Part 3. The most problematic system. Type, what is the most dangerous thing for a system? Being weak? No. Being fragmented? No. The most dangerous thing is this, looking like it works. Because in this case, no one presses the alarm button. No one intervenes. And its destruction becomes inevitable. Part 4. Mawardi's first experiment. Mawardi observed this world, and he saw a side most people couldn't. The problem wasn't weakness. The problem was the misunderstanding of power. Power consists of 2 points. The ability to use force, people's acceptance of it. Most people only consider the first, but Mawardi prioritized the second. He realized if people don't truly accept you, you aren't a powerful individual. You are just a tenant in control. Part 5. Fear, the most fragile side. Imagine a city. The rules are very, very strict. The punishments are heavy. Everyone obeys. From the outside, it looks strong, but inside there's a void, belief. People don't think the system is right, they only feel fear and anxiety. The fate of the system depends on one question. What happens when people stop being afraid? The answer is simple. Everything ends. Part 6. Legitimacy, the invisible skeleton. Mawardi's greatest discovery, legitimacy. Don't see this word as something simple. This is the invisible skeleton of a system. Legitimacy is when people say deep down, this is right. Without this, an existing system cannot survive. Part 7. Same system, different result. Think of 2 cities, same law, same rules. But there's one difference. In one, people believe with their hearts. In the other, they are merely forced to comply. The result? The first city stands tall. The second ends at the first crisis. Because systems don't work with rules alone, they work with human perception. Part 8. Mawardi's great ace. Mawardi didn't just analyze, he sat down and wrote the system, Al-Ahkam as-Sultaniyya, the ordinances of government. But this wasn't just any book, it was a form of management, a blueprint, an operating network. Part 9. The Caliph, Sultan Problem. The biggest issue, the Caliph exists but is powerless. The Sultan exists and is powerful. What did Mawardi think? He didn't reject the reality, he included it in the system. Caliph to legitimacy, Sultan to power. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Part 10. Not the ideal system, but the working one. Mawardi understood this. There is no such thing as an ideal system. There is only the working system. This is what made him different from other thinkers. Part 11. Justice, the focus of the system. According to Mawardi, the heart of the system is not the soldiers. It's not the money, it is justice. But the important point, justice is not just applied. It must be visualized in the mind. Part 12. Invisible inequality. Imagine a city. Everything is according to the law, but people feel this system is built against us. At that point, the system is already finished. Part 13. The beginning of silent collapse. Collapse doesn't start with a bang. It starts slowly with silence. People stop talking, they stop believing, and the system slowly detaches. Part 14. The illusion of power. Now I ask you the most critical question. Are you truly strong, or do you just think you are? Because power is not an object, it is a relationship. Part 15. The invisible agreement behind every system. There is an agreement. People say, we will obey you, but they want something in return. In exchange, you will be just. When this is broken, the system dies. Part 16. Crisis, the revelation of truth. The moment of crisis reveals the truth. Do people truly follow, or are they just complying? That is when everything comes to light. Part 17. Silent resistance. The most dangerous resistance is the silent one. People put in the effort, but they don't believe, and the system ends from within. Part 18. The hardening system. When a system becomes weak, it becomes harsher. But this is not a solution. This only accelerates the collapse. Part 19. The greatest truth, a structure built by force cannot be maintained by force. The only thing that keeps a system alive, voluntary desire and acceptance. Part 20. The collapse scenario. Now, let's do an experiment, but not just any experiment. This is a simulation where we watch, step by step, how a system dies. Imagine a state, strong, rich, stable, but a small difference occurs within, very small, almost unnoticeable. People no longer see the system as just as they once did, just a tiny doubt. And this is where everything sprouts. Stage 1. Doubt. People don't speak out loud, they just think, is this system really fair? This is the first crack in legitimacy. Stage 2. Distance. People begin to distance themselves from the system. They are less loyal, less motivated, and less willing to sacrifice. Stage 3. End of performance. People still work, but not like they used to. Without faith, productivity drops. The system slows down. Stage 4. Lack of trust. People think, this system won't protect me. They check out mentally. This is irreversible. Stage 5. Hardening. The system senses the change and reacts with more rules, more control, more pressure. But as control increases, legitimacy decreases. Stage 6. Breaking point. The first massive crisis arrives. It doesn't topple the system, it simply reveals that the system has already fallen. Part 21. Human psychology. The real root, Mawardi's fundamental understanding was this. Systems don't work with rules. They work with human psychology. People want justice, trust, and belief. Without these three, no system can stand. Part 22. Why do people bind? Most people answer the question, why do people obey, incorrectly. It's not fear, it's not habit, it's not necessity. The real answer, because they believe. If this is gone, obedience is only skin deep. Part 23. Mawardi's greatest foresight. A system's strength is hidden in an invisible place, not in people's minds, but in their hearts. Part 24. The modern world, the same connection. Look at today. Technology has advanced, but the system remains the same. The question is still, do people truly believe? Part 25. Invisible extinction, today. Why are systems ending today? Because people no longer just obey, they question, they stop believing. Part 26. Individual system, your life. Try this on yourself. Your life is also a system. You have rules and directions, but ask yourself, do you truly believe in them? If the answer is no, that system will fail. Part 27. Internal legitimacy. If you don't believe in yourself, discipline ends, the system breaks, control vanishes. Part 28. The biggest mistake. People think, I am the one in control, but often you aren't. You only think you are. Part 29. The breaking. Every system has a lifespan, but the end doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. No system is overthrown from the outside, it collapses from the inside. Part 30. Back to the start. It's 2050. You are building a system. Everything seems under control. But now you know the real question. Do people truly believe in you? If the answer is yes, then the system is working. The grand finale. And here is the clearest truth Mawardi left us. Power can be taken by force, but it can only be protected by legitimacy. If a system stands only by laws, it is already dead. It just hasn't vanished yet. Closing. If this perspective helped you see things more clearly, subscribe and like so we can continue our work. Because here we don't just relay history, we show how the system works. And sometimes, the truth is a much tougher process than you thought. See you in the next video. Goodbye, my friend.